everybody, and welcome to 500 Open Tabs. I'm Kaveh Taherian.
And I'm Hannah Hillam, and welcome to our favorites. That's what we're calling
Not
this.
our favorites, the audience favorites.
If it were our favorites, you wouldn't be hearing anything right now.
Exactly. It would just be a blank hour and a half episode with no noise. It's just silence.
It's just staring. That's what it is, yeah.
No, these are the audience favorites that we had you guys that are listening to the show vote on in terms of what you thought were our two best tabs of the year. For two best tabs for Hannah, two best tabs for me. First up is Hannah Hillman.
I'm going to let that one slide.
Hannah Hillman, your favorite tabs. Why don't you let them know what they are?
Hold on. Derailed me. I don't want it to derail me.
All right, Hannah, why don't you tell us what your two tabs were that were voted by our audience for their favorites?
So, yeah, thanks for voting. And the ones that were the favorites were the Pompeian graffiti, ancient graffiti.
Secundus Nixon. That's probably why.
Where Secundus Nixon, beloved by everyone, our personal creation, Secundus Nixon, which is Nixon's, ancestor who shat on the walls of Pompeii.
5 times.
5 times. And then the second one is going to be Icelandic Dracula. So again, Dracula. A fun one. Sexy for the 1910s Dracula. Icelandic Dracula is really fun. It was one of my favorite ones. So I'm glad everyone also liked that.
I liked both of those as well. I believe it's going to be a great time being able to walk down memory lane and remember, oh, look at this tab. I was so young when I recorded this one.
6 months younger than I am now.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks again to everybody who voted. Enjoy Hannah's tabs and tune back in next week to see what the two tabs that of mine that were voted as audience favorites.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Enjoy. I'm going to start with a story. When I was little, we lived with my grandparents, and they had this gigantic, heavy wooden desk that they would have right in front of their big window. It was really cool. You could sit at it. It was like a slanted drawing desk because a lot of my family are artists. And so they put it in front of this big window, and us kids would just get up there and color and draw and whatever and watch the neighborhood. And one thing about this desk is that people had been carving their names into it since like the 70s. Okay. And my aunts, their friends, you can look through all these. I found one just recently. I went back. It's in my parents' basement now. And I found my name from like the mid-90s. And so that was like one of the fun things about it is everyone got to carve the desk up.
Before you changed your name legally to join the entertainment world.
Yep.
Okay, you don't have a joke for that.
I don't understand.
A lot of people, change their names when they join the entertainment industry.
Oh, that's right.
I just derailed you. Sorry. Continue.
I don't care. I don't. Sorry. I don't care. I'm a professional radio person. All right. Anyway, so all of us kids would just carve into it. Like one time on one of those, 9/11. You're familiar with 9/11.
I've heard of it.
Yes. It was a date. Anyway, there's a big old carving on that desk that I did on 9/11 while watching the news.
Of the two towers?
No, I wrote 9/11 World Trade Center attack with a knife, and I was like 14 and being like, this needs to be kept. This needs to be written down.
Like as a diary entry of some sort?
I don't know, but that's what I want to get into. Something in me decided that this needed to be put down permanently.
Okay.
When I was back at my parents' house just a week ago, I was looking at this desk and I found the 9/11 carving and I was like, why did I do that? Why does anyone do any of it? And so then I started thinking, what do people used to carve into things? Like, am I the first one to do this? Of course not. Like, humans love carving. And so that got me into this whole long Wikipedia hole of graffiti. And so today I'm going to talk about an article that I didn't put on here, but it is about ancient graffiti. It's about ancient graffiti and the humans need to leave a mark.
I have a question. Do cave paintings count as ancient graffiti?
There's a difference. There's ancient graffiti, which is like, paintings, cave paintings, whatever, but there's written graffiti that is very specifically what I'm going to be talking about today because...
Okay, so graffiti is specifically in this case, it's written and it has like a message, like a derogatory message, you're saying?
Most of the time, yeah. But it's just a message in general. So ancient graffiti, dude,
That's cool. I didn't even think about this being a thing.
Yeah. So when I started, oh, by the way, I was going to say my celebrity that I met at that table was Andre Agassi at my grandma's drawing table.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
What? He was babysitting me. Doesn't matter.
Andre Agassi was?
Yes.
When? On 9/11?
On 9/11. No, I was like 4. My aunt's
My
friend
head was about to explode if that was the case. You're like, I watched the towers fall with Andre Agassi as I carved into this old wooden table.
No, him and his girlfriend babysat me as a kid once, and me and Andre Agassi drew a bunch of pictures of cats on that table. So
where are these? Oh, do you have pictures of these cats?
No,
cat drawings.
I drew so many cats that my mom, I think, just threw all of them away. Cat People out October 8th.
Buy it now. Pre-order and get a tote bag.
Ugh. Yeah. Didn't mean to scoff. It's actually great.
You're scoffing at your own book. Yes, continue.
Anyway, that was a little thing. So I started reading about ancient graffiti, and the first thing that came to mind was how natural it is. And like the human urge to make our mark on something permanently, I think is one of the deepest like things why we do anything. Like painting on cave walls. It's like, well, I'm going to die. I may as well paint something on this.
I believe the thing that they used to always tell us in art history class was it's controlling of nature. It's the human's instinct to try and control nature.
Interesting.
That was
I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't know if I agree with anything, but continue.
That's interesting. I like so many like artistic awakenings in art history class, just watching a bunch of non-artists like pick apart art, being like, they don't know what it is to make art.
They don't get it. Oh, don't get me started on every art class, every class in art school. I would just get in a fight with everybody.
Oh, class. Same. Be like, maybe they just wanted to put that color up there. I don't think about anything. And they're like, well, what does it mean? I was
not popular. I'll just say that.
No, that was the class I got called a communist. Anyway, that's a different story. It was 2008. If you liked Obama in Utah, you were a communist.
Interesting.
There's this human urge to make marks on things, and I think it's all about our fear of death and our fear of not being here anymore.
Leaving your mark. I'm following. Yeah.
Gravestones, epitaphs.
But ancient. How ancient are you talking?
Oh, like 3000 BC.
Oh my God. Are we literally talking about bomb graffiti on the tomb of Nefertiti?
Is that from
that lyric?
I'm the worst.
It's a Lauryn Hill song.
I'm the worst. No, I've never heard that song.
No. Continue,
but yes, actually. So before I get to that, is that we either make a mark because we're afraid of death or because we truly, deeply hate somebody. And we need future generations to know how much this person sucks.
We're really angry at this target for being ugly in the way that it's built.
I'm going to do.
And designed.
If anything lasts, if my legacy is anything, is that condos and targets are ugly. So I looked up what's the oldest graffiti. And here's the thing. It was hard to kind of track. It was hard to figure out what exactly was the oldest graffiti. But one of the oldest was in a tomb in Egypt by an ancient tourist. I forget that Egypt was ancient Egypt had an ancient Egypt. So like in 2000 or around what? Yeah, so there was tourists like 2,000 years ago looking at Egyptian stuff from 2,000 years before. So there was this tourist that came and said, I didn't like anything here except the sarcophagus. So pretty much leaving a review on the wall of this.
Just a YouTube comment on somebody's tomb.
So some like, I don't know, who knows? We're just like, this place sucks. The sarcophagus is cool. So that's one of the very first examples of graffiti that I found.
Okay.
And it made me laugh because I was like, that's so human. Like,
we're such pieces of shit. For thousands of years, just pieces of shit.
We're so petty. We have no respect for anything. And I mean, that person probably wasted a bunch of money going to see that and hated it.
I mean, he could have just left like the ancient Yelp review, like of its day.
2 stars.
1 star. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too expensive. Speaking of ancient, I'm referring to Yelp, which nobody uses anymore except for us.
I love Yelp.
I still love it too. I don't care.
Me too. So one of the huge sources we have for ancient graffiti is some of your favorite people, the ancient Romans. But don't worry, it's not just the ancient Romans, it's also the ancient Greeks. So there's that.
Perfect. Everybody.
Yeah, your favorite. Don't worry, I'll get to Persian ones. Theirs are particularly interesting.
Bunch of dicks on everything,
Mostly
I'm sure.
Just real mean.
That I'm so correct. I can already tell you. I don't even know what it is, but I'm like, that sounds absolutely correct.
I'll get into it. Yeah. So graffiti, the word graffiti, actually, here's the thing. Don't get too excited because they don't have much documentation on it. It pissed me off. I spent way too long. Doesn't matter. Graffiti is from the Greek word graphene, which means to write, which is also where we get graphite from. And it was this art history term for scratching a design into a surface. So like they would put a layer of paint and then scratch a design, mostly on like ceramics. And so that's where the word graffiato comes from, and then it turned into
graffiato. Graffiti. Yeah. Graffiti. I don't know. It's
and Italian. So graffiti. Anyway, so the only one about Persia I could find. Great.
Thank you for looking, though.
Oh, I looked. I wanted more, but it was this dude who had just complained about the government. He was pretty much like, I hate the government. This place sucks. I hate this guy.
This just warms my heart.
Yeah.
We have always been like this for thousands of years.
Like most of these are like sexual exploits. Like Rome is like, I banged this person, but the Persian ones are just like, I hate the king. I hate him. This whole caliphate sucks.
Authority, I will kill you all.
Yes. No, it's 100%. Or they do a bunch of drawings of like lions just mutilating people.
This is awesome. Never been more proud.
No, you should be. All the Persian graffiti is like bonkers.
Yeah, just violent and anti-authoritarian.
It's anti-authoritarian and violent and just dope. Like the line work, excellent. It would make a great cartoon.
Strangely obsessed with kings. I don't understand. It's like the inherent contradiction in our culture.
Love it.
Oh, man. We're worms in our brains. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. I'm sending you with one of this lion this.
Yeah, I want to see the Persian graffiti.
I hate that it just did the little. Anyway, so that's one of this lion like trying to mutilate this dude.
Whoa.
Isn't that cool?
I like how he's just got his pants on. He's just like, hey.
Yeah. It's like, here, eat my leg.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's eating his back. Oh, you know what? He's trying to shave his back hair. That's what's happening. He's trying to direct the ancient tradition. He's trying to navigate the lion to his back. He's like, here, bite here so that I can feel my ancient shirt on my back. This is beautiful.
Isn't that cool? I think it would make a really cool tattoo.
I agree. Getting on your back.
Yeah.
Of your back getting shaved by an ancient lion.
Okay, here it is. So among the ancient political graffiti examples was a poem written by Yazid al-Himyari, and he was an Arab and Persian poet. Mm-hmm. And he was most well known for writing his political poetry on the walls in Basra. No, just in the city, manifesting a strong hatred toward the Umayyad regime and its priests. And people used to read and circulate it widely. So he would like go up and be like, these people suck. And everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And, so it was mostly just hatred, which I love.
It's tracks.
And unfortunately, here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Western scholars focus on Western history, sadly. Sure. So we have a lot from Rome and Greece, which makes sense too, because the ones we have from Rome are from Pompeii, meaning that tornado, not a tornado.
Totally a tornado. It was Twister,
what is
actually.
It? A Twister happened.
It was a hurricane.
It was a volcano.
A volcano eruption, yeah.
The volcano coated that place in ash or whatever, and it preserved everything really well.
It, yeah.
It didn't have a chance to get overtaken or torn down. So you see all this graffiti, and I'm going to tell you a couple of these things that people wrote on the walls.
All right.
One of them, to the one defecating here, beware of the... Oh, yeah. Well, look, the Persians talk about hating the government. The Romans talk about poo. And sex.
Okay, listen, that's a plus for them, in my opinion.
Just wait. Some of these I can't even read, like graphic. So it says, to the one defecating here, beware of the curse. If you look down on this curse, you may well have an angry Jupiter for an enemy. So pretty much like storekeeper being like, don't defecate outside my store or you're going to die.
Or your dog shouldn't shit here. I hate you.
Oh, no. It was the Roman it wasn't a dog. Though a lot of these are about. This one was on the walls of Herculaneum, which is a city near Pompeii. And it says, I hope your hemorrhoids rub together so much, so much that they hurt worse than when they ever have before.
Nice.
And it was
I'm going to start using these as like disses to people.
And then a little further down, there's one that just says, I screwed a lot of girls here.
Nice.
And
I banged a lot of ladies.
Yeah. Oh, of course I can't. So then there was this one of, they drew this like goofy looking Roman dude with a big nose. And it said, Amplicatus, I know that Icarus is buggering you. Salvius wrote this. That's his name. So he's like, hey, I know that
Just
Icarus
talking shit to his friend.
Is banging you. Salvius wrote this. So it's like, hey, I know that you're gay. Pretty much.
Oh, you're having an affair.
You're having an affair with a dude. Oh, by the way, this is who wrote it. And he drew a big dumb picture of him with a big
credit
nose.
for it. Interesting. It's like some Real Housewives shit. They're just like, I know that you're like this, and they threw champagne in his face.
And then on the wall of somebody's house, like on the outside of someone's house, Apollinaris, who was a doctor to the emperor, just wrote, Titus shat well here. Oh, sorry. He wrote shat well here. Apollinaris shat well here.
That's amazing.
The emperor was named Titus. Anyway, so I just love the idea of like, exactly. It's like, this was a great place. And then
that's a serious honor.
I know. That is 2,000 years old. That lasted. What a beautiful. I'm going to write that on that target.
Yeah.
After I
Hannahillum shat well here.
Hannahillum shat well here. So then there's a basilica, right?
We need to make those as stickers and just start posting them everywhere we go. Just in places where no person should be shitting, but we'll just put that there.
We should get them. We should hand them out to people to put everywhere.
Just like a window on a bakery or something, and then like an oil change place.
In the basilica, there's also one that says, Epaphra is not good at ball games. So whether
is that another
means
sexual reference?
We don't know. He could have just been like, you suck at sports, or you're bad at
cup game's
handling.
Not strong.
Yeah, you're not good at balls, you know? And also Epaphra is bald. That was another one. Poor Epaphra. Bald and bad at ball games. And yeah, Tanuki. Put him in there.
Man.
This one is one of my favorites. It was another Yelp review, pretty much, on the outside of a bar in Herculaneum, and it said, 2 friends were here. While they were here, they had bad service in every way.
Oh my God.
From a guy named Epaphroditus. They threw him out and spent 105.5 sestertii, most agreeably, instead on whores. So they had a bad service. They're like, give us our money back. We're going to the brothel.
They're like, listen, this hamburger should not cost $25, and it didn't even come with sides. Eat shit.
I could buy a prostitute with this.
We're going to leave and bang some whores. What is he saying? It's Always Sunny.
Banging whores. I can't remember.
Banging whores.
She's my best. What does he say about Roxy? Was it Roxy? His whore wife?
Bang maid? Is that what you're talking about?
The bang maid. Oh, and then here's some anti-landlord stuff. Outside the woodworking shop of Petitus. Oh, no. Sorry. This is about a bar owner. And Petitus wrote, would that you pay for all your tricks, innkeeper. You sell us water and keep the good wine for yourself. So pretty much saying, you water down the wine, you bastard. Bitch. How dare you?
Yeah. Petitus.
Petitus. There's one that just says, Phalaris is a eunuch. This one just says, hey, Cornelius, go hang yourself. Secundus defecated here 3 times on one wall.
Secundus, that's quite the name.
Yeah, he defecated 3 times on the same wall. Which
at the same time, or on 3 separate occasions?
I think 3 separate occasions.
Okay.
And then in some gladiator.
Secundus might want to go see like a gastroenterologist.
Yeah. Secundus cannot stop.
Yeah. Thankfully, we know one. He was on the previous episode.
Oh my gosh, let's get him.
Or I guess 2 episodes ago.
Do you think he's available?
To travel back in time to see Secundus. What was his name? Scotus? I forgot.
Secundus. He goes back and just helps this guy with his bowel movements.
You should not be shitting 3 times on a wall.
Instead of being like, watch out for the volcano that's going to kill all of you.
That's not what a GI can do. That's not what he's legally.
That's not what he was trained to do.
Exactly. He's not legally allowed to give information about other things. Continue.
So sometimes there's like declarations of love, like so-and-so loves so-and-so. Those go back all the way. It's either hatred or love. Also, a lot of popular social and political ideas were scrawled on the walls, which were pretty cool because they'd also have like campaign posters. They pretty much carved campaign messages on walls, like, "Hey, vote for
Nixon's the one," is what they wrote.
Nixon is good. Nixon shat 3 times on this wall. Vote for him.
He learned it from the panda bears. What do you expect?
Yeah, Nixon spent this much money on prostitutes. That's true, though, probably.
I do love a poster of Nixon shat 3 times on this wall, though.
I want that. Vote for him.
Vote for Nixon. He shat 3 times on this wall.
Imagine, like, finding, you know how they find all those Pompeian, like, mummies or whatever of their last moments?
It's like the guy jerking off. Like, I've seen that one.
Turns out he wasn't. Sorry.
He wasn't?
No, he wasn't jerking off.
Don't ruin the don't ruin the dream for me.
He was jerking off.
Okay, thank you.
And that man was Nixon.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking how funny it would be to be like,
there's nothing that feels better as a good jerk after a triple shit. On a fine wall.
He always said that.
Yeah.
That's what always. My father used to tell me.
Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Secundus Nixon. Okay.
Secundus Nixon.
Secundus Nixon. My father shat more than any other man shat. Another favorite of mine. Yep. You good?
I'm gonna text you. I'm just the name Secundus Nixon.
Don't forget it.
I'm texting it to you.
I'm starting to feel the no AC, and I feel like I'm
sorry.
gonna
Continue.
lose it.
This episode is off the rails.
I know Secundus does mean second, though. I do know that. Okay. Look,
that
you're
makes
sick.
sense. Secondus.
If you're sick, it's gonna be off the rails. I'm fine.
I like how you're more off the rails than I am on this episode, and I'm the one that's ill.
I'm arguably also ill in other ways. All right.
That's standard though. That's every week.
Secundus Nixon shat 5 anyway. So there was this one. Sometimes people would get on in fights. So someone would be like, "So and so sucks dick," and then someone else would be like, "I do not. You do."
It's like just Drake and Kendrick. It's a rap battle. It's beef,
but like way more about sex. So this one was really funny to me because somebody wrote, "Successus the Weaver is in love with the slave of the innkeeper, whose name is Iris. She doesn't care. She doesn't care about him at all, but he asks that she take pity on him." And then I think he responded by saying, "Yeah, it's like this. You like her, but she just feels bad for you.
It's bad for you, yeah."
And he, assuming it was him, responded and said, "You're so jealous, you're bursting. Don't tear down someone more handsome, a guy who could beat you up and is good looking."
Yeah. So, if you're bursting, there's a wall I know that you can go
burst onto. If you're bursting, there's a volcano that's about to kill all of us.
Secundus Nixon?
Secundus Nixon is like, "Iris is mine. Iris the slave." Ooh. So there was also an inscription that was like, "By the way, for the best sex worker in town, here's the address." And they think that it was her who she was like, "Yeah, getting business."
I'm like, that's good marketing. Yeah.
She's like, here's where I live.
Her address? Yeah. Where is it specifically? Can we put it into Google Maps?
It's literally Pompeii, and you have to dig through. Yeah. So this lady probably died. She said her name was Novelia Primigenia of Nuceria, whose great beauty and services were in high demand. Here's another one that I love, okay? Just on the wall, somebody just carved a big penis.
Love it.
And wrote "handle with care" underneath it.
That is legitimately awesome.
Right? It's excellent.
That's great. I love that.
It was massive, too. It was like, anyway.
Listen, if there's kids that are listening and like you got in trouble because you spray painted a dick or drew one on someone's yearbook, if like, your teacher gets mad, it'd just be like, "Hey, have you heard of Pompeii? Guess what? Yeah. I'm actually teaching kids about history. You're welcome. I'm coming for your job. That's what I'm doing by drawing all these dicks with everything. So much like that giant dick, handle me with care." Anyway, continue. Sorry.
I don't have behavioral problems at all. I just I'm like the ancient Romans. So there was a lot. There was a lot from Pompeii that is just actually way too bad to say for this podcast.
Okay.
Violent, sexual, terrifying.
Oh, like not funny anymore.
Not just funny, like, more like rape threats and stuff like that. Where it's like,
no, we don't like that.
Detailed, and it's like gross.
No.
Wow, we never change. People are horrible.
So we're not going to get into the rapey murder,
No.
sexual assault stuff.
Outside of Greek and Roman, of course, there's a ton of graffiti, but I had a hard time finding specific translations for it, and I found a really cool article that did show some, and a lot of these weren't prioritized by European translators because they were like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't even look like Roman.
Yeah.
Because
This is a fake language.
no, but for real, they were like, why is it sloppy? Because Rome was all nice, and so they were like, kind of couldn't see past all the like quote unquote scribbles, and so for like hundreds of years, these Arabic graffiti weren't translated. One of them was kind of cool. It was like ancient North Arabian graffiti at Palmyra, so which is in modern day Syria, and it was written over 1,000 years ago, and it says, "This is an inscription that I wrote with my own hand. My hand will wear out, but the inscription will remain." Which I thought was
nice.
A really nice like way to encapsulate exactly why we do this. Like, highly aware of our own mortality.
Poetic. Yeah.
Well, almost like accepting too. It's like a weird way to say goodbye. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
This is what I can leave.
No,
and
it's
that's about it.
beautiful.
Yeah,
I love it.
And other than that, a lot of dick drawings, a lot of
also beautiful
arguments. But have you ever been to the Roman baths in England? Anywhere in England?
I don't believe I have.
There's a bunch of those. You'd remember. They make you drink the bath water.
Oh yeah, Gamer Girl bathwater. Famously, that was in the ancient Roman one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think I have. I don't remember if I did.
There's a lot of those like fights there. Like they would carve onto like coins and tablets and like insult each other and throw that in the baths and like do curses on each other. So you could go and you could see like these curse tablets that'd be like, so and so, I saw so and so doing this to so and so in this bath, and I hope he dies. Like, stuff like that, where it's like, I hope this god, it just rips this person apart for doing this.
This is why there's so much. I mean, particularly in Middle Eastern, North African, like the Mina cultures is like the evil eye, and then like the burning of the rue, and all these things of being like there are bad spirits because people are literally writing death threat messages on tablets in like bathhouses against me. I got to protect myself against this shit. Put this pepper on my door or whatever, or the evil eye from here from protection. Like there's all these different things that people do.
It makes
it's like
sense.
your only way of battling it.
It's like those one of my Wiccan friends has the things you carve above the carving. You carve these symbols above the door to keep out like curses and stuff. Like it's all over the place. I think it's like our only way of being like, someone just cursed me. I got to do something just in case. Besides all these like Eurocentric ones, like I was saying that there's some pre-Islamic Arabic writing that they found maybe about 200 years ago by an English guy, and he was like, I don't understand this. It's in like scribbly writing. I don't get it. Yeah. And he just kind of put it in he put it in the back of like some
the British Museum,
probably something in his house. You know what? It was probably his house. He was like unwrapping a mummy and like eating it while like pushing this stone away into the back of his house.
It's in the garage refrigerator. That's where he put it right now. It wasn't important enough to be in the main fridge.
Dude, that's how I knew somebody had money, is if they had a garage freezer. It's like, dang, there's popsicles out there. I like this place better than my house.
Yeah.
So these weren't prioritized because European translators didn't classify them as good because they looked a lot less organized and perfect. So these were written in Safavidic text. So they found these in modern day Jordan. And they're these rocks like on the side of the roads and stuff up this big mountain and mountain and they bring some of them back and no one translates them until like I want to say the 60s.
They're like, we'll get around to it eventually.
Because they were like, I don't know what this language is, and turns out it's like, just an
Bob,
ancient...
you can do it. He's just like, I'm not really organized.
I can't do this. Let's go read more Roman stuff. Yeah. So they went untranslated for a while, but eventually they were translated. And of course, they were awesome graffiti. It was awesome graffiti. And it ended up being, there was this linguist named Ahmad al-Jalad, who weirdly enough is from Salt Lake.
Always comes back to Salt Lake.
I guess.
Always Utah with you, Hannah.
Look.
Moving on.
So he was the linguist, and he started translating these rocks and realizing that they were just, he could totally understand them. They were just an older form of Arabic, and it was pre-Islamic, which was groundbreaking because Islam definitely was a lot like Christianity, where it was like, get rid of all the old. We're not talking about it. Muhammad, pre-Muhammad it's hard to find really any written account of what life was like. Also because they were all very nomadic. There was a lot of nomadic tribes and situations. And he starts translating these because there's so many of them. He goes out into the desert with some people and he's like, there's so many of these. He ended up finding more graffiti than anywhere in Pompeii, than anywhere in Herculaneum, anywhere in Greece. Like it was like like he mentioned, he's like, yeah, I can't even believe this. I just walk out here and there they are. You don't have to dig. You don't have to
That's lame. You don't even have to dig? That doesn't sound as fun.
It's not, but like...
It's convenient though, yes.
It's nice. He's like, oh wow, dope. There's hundreds of these stones. And I'm going to send you... So this one is called...
This looks like a empanada or something.
It says, by Akraban, son of Kasit, son of Saad, the beautiful woman playing the reed pipes. And so it's pretty much just like
that image that's really famous. I don't know where it's from.
Cool.
South American or Central America. I don't know where it's from. That seemed, there's like a variation on that, and I completely don't remember where it's from.
Oh,
it's like somebody with this big hair
with the yeah.
Am I making that up?
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. A bunch of like hippies wear it on shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
So they weren't perfectly straight letters, obviously. They were a little bit different. And
this is Arabic? This is ancient Arabic?
That's ancient Arabic.
What the shit?
Isn't that crazy? Well, here's the thing.
Weird.
It they call it what's it called? Cool. What's it called? Safayidic. So it's a form of ancient Arabic.
Sephardic, yeah. Okay.
It's a different language, but it's very similar. So
cool.
Al-Jalad starts reading these and he realizes that a lot of them are written backwards, and kind of like there was a bunch of like messing around. Like one of them was written in a circle format, like following a sentence in a circle, and some were written forward and the next line was backwards and the next line was forward. And it was like these weird little poems and like playing with the verses and stuff. And once they figured that out, they were like, oh, dope, these are full on like poems. So they're early traces of the lives of these nomadic tribes that otherwise wouldn't have like written things down, or if they did, it would have been destroyed. What the world looked like before Muhammad and the spread of Islam. They would pray to the goddess, whoever that was. They still don't know. So they would have these prayers on these rocks to the goddess, wishing for more rain. One of them was just like, bro, I hate my job. I hate camels.
Yeah.
He was a camel herder, and he was like, there's literally nothing for these camels to eat. I hate everything.
I don't want to look at camels anymore.
There was one that was like, I'm so sad my son got kidnapped. Like
that's a bummer.
Oh, really a huge bummer. One guy wrote about how frustrated he was with his job. Another one just listed his genealogy, which I was like, that's what I would do.
That sounds like you. I was going to say, yeah, 100%. That's yours.
Be like, here's where I come from. And then many complained about how much they hated the Romans.
Is this a Persian tribe?
You know what? It might be. No, the Romans ruined everybody's lives. So all those Romans that were like pooping 5 times on a wall were also terrorizing these poor nomadic.
Thanks, Secundus Nixon.
I hate Secundus Nixon.
Nixon.
And here's the thing. I wanted to find a bunch of them, but I really couldn't locate very many of the actual translations into English, just like descriptions of them. But a lot of them were really cool. Like,
are they written? The translations are written, not the translations. The transcriptions are all written in Arabic.
Arabic, yeah. Okay. Can you read Arabic?
No, I cannot. But we have listeners of this podcast.
We should.
So I was going to say, if anybody can read Arabic,
and there's way more to this tab that's like a really cool story. So maybe I'll go back to it at some point. But I thought it was important to actually like not just talk about Greek and Roman stuff because they get all the attention.
I think that's awesome.
We're still, I mean, if anybody works in these fields of the linguistics, like ancient linguistics, like I would love to hear about more non-Eurocentric linguistic stuff, like, or findings, you know, like this is fascinating, especially pre-Islamic, because like that's like you get to see this little slice of life of like this bored camel herder praying to some goddess.
I want to know who this dude's
yeah, like I could just see him sitting there being like, I'm so bored. I'm so sick of this. I gotta, and like the urge, like being so annoyed with something that you have to carve it onto a rock is so relatable to me. Like,
I agree.
I would absolutely do that if I were stuck somewhere I didn't want to be. I would find a rock and I'd carve a bunch I hated in it. We're the same. We've been the same this whole time.
I agree.
And I think that's beautiful. And
I think so too.
But it bums me out because there just isn't very much work going into finding translations for these. So, but it's getting better.
Are these in the article that you
yes, I will link
as your main source? Okay.
I have two articles.
So we'll link to these articles in the show notes.
Yeah.
And if you're a listener who can read any Arabic or know somebody who can read Arabic and you're interested in sort of going down that rabbit hole and want to write us an email about it, that would be really cool. We'd love to share it with others.
Yeah. And if I had more time, I definitely could. I could follow this trail down to like figure out if there's an English translation, a really good English translation.
Yeah.
But I only found descriptions. So like this guy was talking about this and it's like, I want to hear it in their words as close as we can get, you know? Anyway, Ahmed Al-Jalid is awesome. I love what he's doing. He's a linguistics professor.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, it's awesome. But maybe I'll come back to this. Maybe not. Maybe I'll die.
Okay. Maybe you'll write a message with your hand and the message will stay despite your hand no longer existing. Or whatever.
I'm just going to write, I hate condos.
Perfect.
Well,
thank you for that.
tab.
That was wonderful. I loved it. It's so interesting to see that. I didn't even think about pre-Islamic, Middle East in terms of the writing being so different and all that.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Hello, friends. If you're like Hannah and I, you feel deeply uncomfortable asking for help. But, as my therapist always tells me, your insurance has been declined. Please stop coming to my yoga class and crying. While I'm sorting all that out, you can go to nebula.tv/500 open tabs and sign up for Nebula and help us get our lives back on track. Even better, Nebula has exclusives like Identities. Two strangers appear in a mysterious room with no way out and no memory of who they are. Identities is a sci-fi thriller directed by Jesse Earl and starring some friends of mine, like Maggie Mayfish and Abigail Thorne, as well as, and perhaps the most exciting for me, John Delancey, aka Q from Star Trek. Big deal. I had the pleasure of attending the premiere a few weeks back, and I can say for certain that this movie is a corking good time. You can find this video and dozens of other high production originals on Nebula, a video streaming platform built by and for creators. And of course, I'm contractually obligated to tell you that subscribers get a special feed to listen to this show ad-free. Go to nebula.tv/500 open tabs and get 40% off an annual subscription. By signing up, you can support other creators like Lindsay Ellis, Princess Weeks, and many more. Remember, sign up at nebula.tv/500 open tabs and help my therapist enjoy their yoga class without having to hear me weep.
All right, so my tab this week is an article from grapevine.is, which is it's called the Reykjavik Grapevine, and it's a newspaper in Iceland. And it is the title of it is The Literary Mystery of the Icelandic Dracula. And so I was funny story. Yeah. So the Icelandic Dracula is pretty bonkers. And I was like, oh, I should dress up, I got to make myself look undead. And I started thinking, and I was like, I'll just come as I usually come.
Yeah, you're like all ready to go.
I'm like, I already look like a Dracula lady. My mom used to be like, Hannah, you look dead. Put some color on your face. You look dead. So yeah, Mom, it's serving me well now. The Icelandic Dracula. I say Icelandic Dracula because it is different. We're going to start at 2014. All right. And a dude, of course, I don't have his name.
Let's just give him a name. He's from Iceland?
Ivan. That's a Russian name. Ivan. Whatever. His name's Jimmy.
The only Icelandic name I know is Bjork. That's it. I don't know any other Icelandic names.
Well, you're going to hear a few more. So a translator was looking through this manuscript in 2014, and he realized, he was like, this says this is the translation for Dracula in Icelandic, but this isn't the same story. Mm-hmm. And he discovered that for the past 100 years, Iceland has had a completely different story. than everyone else.
I love that.
And so he was like, what? And so then they get going, they're like, oh, we have to figure out how to translate this to English.
I already love this. It's just a guy that was hired to be the translator, clearly didn't speak English or whatever language he was translating it from. He just made it up, and no one noticed for 100 years.
He spoke English, but he didn't think Dracula was good as it was. So this goes back to 1901, right? And Dracula has been out for about 4 years, written by Bram Stoker. And it's kind of gained popularity pretty quickly. It was very popular. People loved it. And it still is popular. It's been made into films like 30 plus times. Are you familiar with the story?
I mean, I know the adaptation I'm most familiar with is the Coppola one from 1991. It's literally called Bram Stoker's Dracula. Have you seen that one?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm assuming because it's called Bram Stoker's Dracula that it's the most accurate to the book, because he decided to put the author's name on top of the film, like above the credits. But I have no idea. I love that movie, by the way.
Is it good? I gotta listen. I mean, watch.
It's really just as a sidebar. It was like it was early '90s, and Coppola was like, "Oh, I want to make this movie in a way that sort of feels like the 1920s and 30s, like before,
cool.
like when it was like all in camera effect. So it sort of has this old timey effect, and then." What's her name? I think that was his first collaboration with, I believe her name was Aiko Ishioka, she was the very famous costume designer who just did these incredible costumes, incredible costuming.
I gotta watch it.
Deep blood red. Actually, the opening of that film is something that I saw when I was like, I don't know, 13, 14.
Too young.
And then I was like, this is amazing. I don't know. Some people think it's like cheesy and kind of like overly operatic, but that is the character, I think. Yeah.
And it fits with the actual story, which is like a soap opera,
It's very soap opera, and it made me understand. I'm like, oh, this is because it's really a love story, is what it is.
So this guy,
I'm actually, sorry, I should just say, I'm more familiar with the characters than I am with actually the original story.
That's how I was too.
I'll just say that, yeah.
Because they've become these like
Van Helsing and Renfield and all this stuff.
Renfield, yeah.
Which was a fun movie, by the way. It was more goofy. I liked it more than I thought.
There's so many.
The Nicolas Cage one that came out a couple years ago.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Really insane and kind of funny. Anyway, I got really excited. You asked me about like Dracula, and I was like, let me tell you about 37,000 different movies that I've seen.
That's why I asked.
Yes.
So it was translated in, I should say, quote unquote, translated in 1901 by a dude named Valdemar Osmondson.
Lord Voldemort.
Exactly. I heard it. I was like, Voldemort? Valdemar Osmondson was a newspaper owner in Iceland, and he had his own newspaper. So he was like, oh, this story's kind of cool. I'm going to start translating it and then putting it into my own newspaper and like serializing it. Yeah. And so if you're not familiar with like the story of Dracula, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to them. I'm going to just kind of go over it really quick. And if it goes a little long, we can stick my summary in Patreon or something. But the story of Dracula, it was written by Bram Stoker in 1897, and did you know he was Irish? Anglo-Irish?
I don't think I knew anything about Bram Stoker, actually.
He's like he worked for like a theater. He was just like a theater guy. That's not cool. An actor, like administrative. Anyway, he wrote the gothic horror novel Dracula in 1897. And it is interesting in that it's told through the letters, newspapers, telegrams, and other ephemera. So it's not like a linear story.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool for its time. He was messing around with it a little bit.
Yeah, genre.
And so to summarize the plot for those who don't know, it's about this young English real estate agent / solicitor named Jonathan Harker, who goes to Transylvania to help his client, Dracula, buy a mansion in England, because Dracula needs more people to drink blood from. And he would like to go to England to do that. And Jonathan's an idiot, though, because he's like, all the peasants are like, don't go, don't do it. And he's like, well, I don't care. And he just gets attacked by wolves. And he's like, that's not foreshadowing. I just need to keep going to this castle. And he gets up there.
So no one remembers if you got attacked by wolves. All they remember is your legacy, how much money you had in crypto.
Yes.
And
lines going up on the whatever stock market. Yeah. Big line, big money.
Diamond hands.
Diamond. Yep, hodl. He just wanted to hodl, dude. That's all he wanted. He wanted to. Anyway, so he gets up there and Dracula, the crypto bro. Just kidding. That would be horrific. Can you imagine how unbearable would Dracula be if he was also a crypto bro?
Listen, I could see it. He's got wealth from a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
So I could see him reinvesting it in crypto.
So Jonathan gets to the castle and he's like, this place is nuts. Also, this Dracula guy seems fine. And he soon realizes, because he seems polite, and he's like, this guy's an ancient weirdo, but whatever. And he realizes soon that he's in deep danger because he watches Dracula just climb up the wall like a lizard. Normal things. And he's like, maybe that's how they do it in Transylvania, but they don't. He's
like, I don't want to be culturally disrespectful.
Yeah, he's like, maybe they just climb walls like lizards
He's
here.
like, listen, I'm here to listen, okay? I'm not here to judge other cultures.
And to sell you a mansion. So he ends up freaking out because, like, then these 3 hot vampire ladies are, like, seducing him. And he's like, oh, no, I have a fiance. You know, the problem we all run into at least once. And he tries to just crawl out a window and escape. And he does. And he ends up out of his mind in a Budapest hospital. So, meanwhile, Dracula goes to England, right?
Right.
And he starts terrorizing this woman, Lucy. I don't know. Lucille?
Yeah,
Lucy.
I think Lucille Bluth, yes.
Yeah, Lucille Bluth is there. And then Mina, who's Jonathan's fiance, is her friend. And Lucy's like, I keep getting proposed to, and I wish I could just marry all of them. I want it to be pretty much talking about wanting to be polyamorous.
Yeah,
which was crazy for the time. And she can't figure out who to marry. And then she gets all sick. And Mina's like, oh no. And then she hears that her fiance's like insane and in a hospital. And so she goes to, wherever he is, Budapest. So Dracula gets on a boat and moves to England. And this boat, he like slowly kills everyone on board because he can't help it. Except for the captain who he... What?
I was going to say, which is another movie that came out a couple years ago that's all
Really?
about like the voyage of the ship. Yeah. I forget. The name is escaping me right now, but I've been meaning to watch it. Yeah. Which I saw parts of it. I was like, this is metal as shit. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It's been like in my queue to watch at some point. I haven't watched it yet, but
the voyage is like, it's like so creepy on its own because he's slowly picking off people on the boat and everyone's freaking out. Yeah. It's like a whole horror movie on its own.
It's classic horror structure. Yeah, absolutely.
The last person on the boat is the captain who he ties to the
mast?
Steering wheel?
Steering wheel.
And then he turns into a wolf because Dracula is also a shapeshifter. I don't know if you knew this.
Dracula's so awesome.
I'm
just like, yes!
If we ever do Kumatab again, I know who's winning.
Dracula's going to win everything. He's cool as shit.
Except the Michelin Man doesn't have blood, so we'll see.
It's true. God, I really want you to watch the Coppola version now because most of the stuff you've talked about is in there.
Oh, sorry.
You're just like, no. I mean, like I'm excited because I'm remembering it from the film.
Oh, okay, all right.
So I'm just like, yeah, that part was cool, and then that was awesome, and then that shit was crazy. Like it's really cool.
I'm glad I'm following the plot, and they did a good job. So the boat gets there, and the captain's the only one alive, and Dracula turns into a wolf thing, dark thing, and jumps off the boat and can be seen like lurking in graveyards. And Lucy, Mina's friend, starts going nuts and feeling super sick. And one of her fiancés is a doctor, and the other one's an American millionaire, and the other one's just some guy. And the doctor is like, we got to look at her. What's going on? Because she starts to like show these like a bite marks.
Yeah.
She starts sleepwalking, which is weird because in the book they blame it on her dad being a slut.
On her dad being a slut?
Yeah, they're like, her dad slept around a lot.
Progressive.
I know.
They're slut shaming the man. Good for them. Good
they're
for Bram Stoker.
They're slut shaming the dad. Yeah,
that's good.
And then they're like, yeah, her dad was a slut, and now genetically she's insane. So
totally, because
Victorians
famously transfers from the dad sluttiness
to being insane,
to being a woman slut. Yes, no, that's how it goes. That's what science would tell us back in the day.
Yes,
100%.
So she ends up sleepwalking into cemeteries and seeing this black dog, and Mina, they lay her down and put garlic all over the room, and they're like, there's a Dracula on the loose. Actually, that's not what they say, but you know what I mean.
They're like, it's Dracula in time. It's like the titular line game. It's Morbin time.
It's Dracula in time. No, I think maybe
it was when Morbius, the terrible Jared Leto movie, came out, and no one saw it. And then there was this social media campaign where everybody was like, "Oh man, I wish that we could see that movie and just have him." Because my favorite line was like, "It's Morbin time." It was this bullshit thing they came up with, and somebody at the studio was like, "Yeah, okay, we should re-release." It was a total disaster.
Of course,
it's like
you can't.
The greatest win of collective bullying of studios.
Besides the Sonic's teeth.
Yeah, that one's a good one too.
That one's a good one, and that worked well. Anyway, Lucy is like, oh, I'm so sick. And the doctor's like, I still want to marry you and I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I got to ask my old friend Van Helsing for help because this looks like a job for a vampire hunter.
Yeah.
And
Hugh Jackman shows up.
And he's also Australian, turns out.
Right.
I did know that one.
I'm assuming you have not seen The Van Helsing starring Hugh Jackman. That's why
I actually have.
You have seen that one?
Yes.
Okay.
I saw it in the theater. I thought it in theaters. They're like, bro, Van Helsing's like, bro, she is a vampire. And everyone's like, whatever. No, she's not. Because she dies, right? The wolf comes back and kills her. And then everyone's like, she's not a vampire. And Van Helsing's like, yes, she absolutely is. Look. And they look and she's just like eating it, like sucking the blood out of a kid. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's definitely not a dead person.
It's because her dad's a slut. That's why. It has nothing to do with her being a vampire.
Daughter of a slut.
Yeah.
Sluts are immortal.
I just want a shirt that says like slut dad or something that I could wear.
Dad slut.
Dad slut. Maybe that's conjuring up the wrong kind of image now.
No, not at all.
Slut daddy? I don't know.
Slut. Daddy slut.
Daddy slut? I guess I'm thinking of Leather Daddy. Again, it's all come back to Arrested Development.
Arrested Development, yeah.
I want something that says Leather Daddy, but it's like, I want something that says Slut Daddy.
Slut Daddy.
Victorian Slut Daddy specifically. It's very different.
Just shorts. Just wear the shorts with the ink on them. They'll be like, that's a sloppy, messy, horrible man.
Look at his legs.
We
He's
can
a disaster.
see his legs. So, remember how Mina went to Budapest to help Jonathan?
Yeah, to break him out.
They come back. And they come back and they're like, oh, you definitely like cut Lucy's head off because that's what they had to do. Van Helsing's like, stab her in the heart, chop her head off, and fill her mouth with garlic, as is tradition. And Mina and Jonathan are like, oh, it's Dracula. And everyone's like, Jonathan, you can't sell property to murderers. Immortal murderers, especially. And now we got to destroy him before he kills Mina, too, because he starts to, get in Mina's head.
You have to wear the cone of shame today for the real estate agency. You do not get to come to the pizza party on Friday because you sold to an immortal murderer. You do not get the weekly bonus of an extra set of steak knives.
There is no Christmas bonus. There's no Christmas raffle. Nothing for you, Jonathan.
Coffee is for closers, and you are not a good closer.
No. In fact, you're the worst real estate agent England's ever seen.
You call yourself a salesman, you son of a bitch. I'm just quoting all movies today. Anyway, continue.
I actually knew that one, I think. Now they're like, we got to kill him. And so Dracula runs away. And he's like, ooh, can I get out of here? Uh-oh. Someone caught me. I gotta go home.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. He I don't know,
like blood coming out of his mouth the entire time.
Who, me? Little old me.
He's just gaslighting everybody.
He's like, me never.
Yeah, no.
He runs away back to his Transylvania castle, and they all follow. And then they're like, they ambush him, they get him, they cut his head off, they kill him, and Mina is no longer sick with vampirism or whatever. And everyone lives happily ever after, except one of the fiancés of Lucy gets killed in the fight, and it was the American millionaire. Yeah. So we were disposable in this story.
Yeah, thanks a lot, anti-American.
So that's the story.
Right.
In a nutshell-ish, what's his name? Valdemar.
Lord Voldemort, right.
Is like, I think this might need way more boobs. And
listen, already on board with this.
Same,
this
dude.
Man is a genius. I love it.
He was like, there's not enough tits in this.
Yes.
And I'm going to add some more. And so he starts writing his own fan fiction of Dracula. And he's like, you know what else it needs is Satanism. And
dude, this guy's the best.
Oh, yeah, dude. I want to read this version so bad. It sounds amazing. And here's the thing, though. It's pretty similar, right? Until it gets to the castle. So Jonathan has been renamed Thomas for some reason. Who cares? Right, there's boobs. And it takes Thomas Jonathan, I'm just going to say Harker. Takes Harker way longer to realize he's a prisoner. Because he just spends time being horrified left and right in Dracula's castle by all these things that are going on, including the 3 vampire chicks are gone, right? But they're replaced with Dracula's... No, but they're replaced by another one. Dracula's female relative named Josephine, who may or may not be his niece.
He's keeping it Josie.
He's keeping it Josie. Damn, you beat me to the joke, dude.
Sorry.
I was going to say he's keeping a Josie.
He's keeping a Josie, okay.
So Josie is like this, may or may not be his niece, but she's super hot and she's immortal and sexy, and she gets Harker all like, ooh, you know, like obsessed with her. And
like Auga style, like eyes popping out of his head.
Where he's like
he turns into a wolf for a moment and just bangs the table. Yeah.
He can't keep his eyes off of her because Josie just tits out all the time. Just nothing on top. And she'll be either covered in blood or diamonds and, classy.
You know, but this sounds cool because it sounds like he didn't just arbitrarily say it takes him a long time to realize that he's being held captive. It's like all of these things are what any I shouldn't say normal, but like most of us who are a little bit insane would just be like, what? This is metal as shit. What the hell is that? This is awesome. Wait, I'm prisoner? Am I sure? I don't know. Maybe.
Do I like this?
Yeah.
I might like it here.
Yeah.
And so I love Voldemort. I love him so much. So Valdemar Osmondson spends a lot of time talking about boobs. Like a lot of it is like describing boobs, what they look like, who has them, what are they wearing. It's hot. And Harker wanders around at night and finds a basement filled with other vampires. And can you guess what they're doing in there?
Each other?
Orgy.
Yeah.
So this has way more vampire orgies and satanic rituals, like literally praising and worshiping Satan in the basement after their orgy. I don't know if I can
make it to the end of this tab without like busting out and wanting to read the entire thing in one fell swoop.
Simmer down.
Yeah. So, I'm all hot and bothered.
I'm a little bit too, to be honest. We should get a Dracula. We should get Josie on our podcast, but not the ones we know. We should get Hot Dracula. One. I think we'd
Dracula vampire niece.
We'd both explode. We'd both just like, oh no. Okay, so another huge difference is that Dracula will not shut up about politics. So he's just...
Listen, it's got a little bit of everything. You can go look at boobies, and then you can go discuss politics with somebody, which, you know me, I love to debate for sport. I don't even care if I like agree with it.
I love
just
politics.
Fun to argue. Yeah.
Boobs, politics. So far, I'm on board.
Yeah.
All right?
And you don't have to pay to be there, I'm assuming, right? Like, you're being held captive. Like, this sounds great.
I'm his guest.
Yeah. I'm waiting to see where this is like bad for anyone.
I'm deciding when I'm not into this anymore. Yeah. And so far, I'm into it. Maybe not watching people get sacrificed because they did do that a lot too. So,
I mean, I could just go in the other room. I don't have to watch it. You know, maybe there's something on TV I can go check out.
Right. Just watching TV at an orgy. That's your that's what you do.
I feel like that would be a good slug
Band
if I
name?
ever. No, if I ever got back onto like the dating apps, God forbid, but if I ever had to, I'm watching TV during an orgy would be like my little slug line.
So he can't shut up about politics, and he can't shut up about how much he hates Christians. So he would have loved Reddit, like just thrived on Reddit.
This is like our goth king right now, basically.
Yeah, but he's a little bit like the atheist in the way that it's like, all right, I get it.
Oh, we get that you don't believe in God. Like
I get it.
Yeah. I mean, if it's like 100 years ago, it's a little bit more forgivable because at that time that was like new to like really be like that.
Oh,
to that extent. That's a new thing.
No one was ever out saying like, I don't believe in God. And Darwinism is like very recent.
Yeah, it's true.
And speaking of Darwinism, that is all the book talks about is that Dracula is a huge proponent of social Darwinism, which means the weak need to be destroyed and the strong need to rule. Mm-hmm. And all he talks about is that. And Dracula's like, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take over Europe, and I'm in with all these governments. And he's got like,
see, now it's starting to sound
getting
like
Hitler.
insufferable.
Oh, very insufferable, dude. He won't stop. He's just like, the reason I want a mansion in London is so I can have a secret society where we plot to overtake all the European countries. And
just stick to boobies and like complaining about politics. Like that's all we need as human beings.
Yes. That's it.
And TV's during an orgy. You can watch TV during an orgy. That's all we want.
You gotta take a break from the orgy.
People can never be happy with what they've got. That's the sad part.
So yeah, he won't shut up about any of that. And he organizes these secret societies and he wants property in London. So here's the funny part is that in this one, the property in London is like this rundown garbage house in the East End of London. Whereas like in the original, it's this mansion, you know?
Yeah.
And so he wants to live in this like slum and
he's a
take
shrewd
over
investor.
Europe.
Yeah, because he understands that if he goes in there, it'll raise the property value of everything around it.
He understands.
He's going to snatch everything up. You don't go buy the most expensive real
No.
estate. You don't go where it is.
He has
you go
that
where it's
in
going
Transylvania
to be.
already.
Yeah,
he has
exactly.
his beautiful castle. Now he
Makes
needs
sense.
his just disgusting hole in the wall in England.
Flop house, yeah.
Flop house, exactly. So okay, here's the thing. This whole Valdemar's is all set up in two parts. And the first part is Jonathan's adventures to the castle, and it's told from his point of view. So he completely changed how the story was told. Okay. It was not through it wasn't through like notes or letters. It was through Jonathan's diary firsthand.
Yeah. Okay.
Or Thomas's or whatever.
Right.
And that is that whole section, the castle part with the orgies and the ladies is 80% of this book. All right. If you remember, there's the whole part where they have to still kill Dracula and go to England and like Mina and
the
Lucy.
Last 10% where he just
it is the
all
last 20% where he like shoves in. He's like, oh shoot, I gotta actually say what happens.
I forgot.
I gotta stop my smut. Gotta stop writing smut and actually get to the point. And he ends up shoving the last stuff into like 60 pages, whereas. First of all, the original book is like 500 pages.
Who of us has not done this?
I did that today.
Yeah.
I did that today with this tab. No. The original book was like 500 pages, and he got the whole thing down to like 250 pages or something. So he cut out like so much stuff. And then he added a few.
An excellent thing to do that I wish most scripts would do these days. Cut them down. They don't need to be 3-hour movies. They can be 90 minutes.
There's so much conversation that doesn't need to be had that can just be shown.
And there's so many more vampire tits that we could be seeing in everything.
Dude, that's all we want.
That's all we want.
Keep it Josie.
It's got a whole new meaning
suddenly
now.
Keeping it Josie is very different.
Sorry, Josies.
Yeah, sorry, Josies. I'm truly sorry.
Sorry.
So the second half is like 60 pages, and he just kind of is like, oh, and then like, yeah, Dracula goes to England to start a secret society, and
like,
there's Van Helsing, and there's this chick named Mina, and she's actually he actually like treats the women like equals, because at the time Iceland was really advanced with women's rights. Mm-hmm. They were already giving women the right to vote and to like serve in government positions and stuff.
Cool.
So
yeah, they
were on that. So Lucy she changed the name to Lucy Western instead of Lucy Western.
Eastern.
Instead of Lucy's Northern, Eastern, yeah. Van Helsing is just like this footnote. It's just like, oh, this guy comes, and they all capture Dracula in his house in London and kill him. So there isn't.
Makes more sense, yeah.
It makes way more sense, I guess, yeah. And here's the thing. The article I read had so much more that I can't even get into, and I would want everyone to go click on the article in the description, because it's so well written, so well done, and it gets deeper into all of this. But here's a crazy thing that happened in 2017 is they took the new old manuscript, and they're like, we're going to translate this back into English, but it's going to be the Icelandic version, which was called Makt Myrkrana, which is Icelandic for power of darkness, which is from one quote in the original book where they say something about power of darkness. So they decided to translate Makt Myrkrana into English, and it caught the attention of this guy named Hans de Roos. So Makt Myrkrana, it turns out, was lifted from an earlier version of this. So another lost version in Swedish.
Of Dracula?
So they have these of Dracula, the Swedish Dracula, which was lost, and then they realized later that Valdemar's isn't even the original fanfic. It's a Swedish one.
So it's a fanfic of a fanfic?
Yes.
What?
Yes. So I know. So the Swedish one kind of got lost, but it was also published in a newspaper. And that one was called Morkrits Makter, which translates to power of darkness. And then everybody's like, so wait, where did this actually come from? So they started looking into because Bram Stoker did have some earlier drafts. And so they were like, did they somehow get a hold of an earlier draft? Yeah. And they find his earlier drafts, and there are characters in there that he cut, but that are in the Swedish and Icelandic versions. So somewhere down the road, they think that somehow, probably the Swedish person, got a hold of a manuscript, an early manuscript of Dracula, and then just lifted characters out of there and kind of did their own thing with them. So it went through this bizarre, like, telephone game where we don't actually know how this story came to be. No one really knows. There's no documentation. And Valdemar said it was based on a true story. That was another weird thing. He said it was by Bram Stoker and that it was based on a true story and that names had been changed to protect privacy, which is wild. And to this day, we don't know.
Did they ever find out who the person was that translated the Swedish version?
No, it was he signed his name A.E. He or she signed their name A.E. in the newspapers. And they have some ideas maybe that match the initials, but we don't really know. Wow. And then another cool thing is a linguist was reading through the Icelandic version, and they started thinking, this seems like this was translated from another Nordic language, not from English. So there's like little linguistic markers that were like, yeah. That's not from English, that's from another Nordic language. And it would make sense that it was from the Swedish one. So
fascinating.
That is the wild and a weirdly erotic story of the Icelandic Dracula, Macht Myrkina.
So this was only 2014, you said, that they finally actually figured this out?
Yeah.
And then it's been translated to English now.
You can buy it.
You can buy it. And my first question is like, who's bought the rights to this? And is there a film being made of Icelandic Dracula?
That's what I wanted to know.
That's what I'm curious about.
I'm pretty sure it's in the public domain.
Well, yeah, if it's 100 years old, for sure. I just mean, like, is anyone trying to make it, I guess I should say.
Ooh. I looked a lot of places, and there isn't very much about this. Like, that article I found is probably the most comprehensive, and I didn't see anything about a film or anything, but, dude.
That sounds awesome.
I would love it.
That was
anyway. That went faster than I thought.
That was an excellent tab. I really enjoyed that. That was really strange, and I think that our linguistics tab on the Discord is going to go ape shit with that one.
Yeah, they're going to love it.
They're going to be very excited about this. It's super cool. I'm genuinely fascinated by that one.
Well,
thank you.
It's your turn, dude. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for the tab. That was a great one. But I do really want to. Again, we have this list of 1,000 movies that we're going to sit and watch in honor of the podcast. That one, I guess I won't explain it to you in case we ever watch it. But in terms of like the stuff, nothing's really. It's not like changed so much as like certain things are emphasized more than others.
Okay.
In the story, but it's very cool. I really like it. Again, it's an acquired taste. I know not everybody loves that adaptation of Dracula, but I don't know if they're like purists or whatever.
I don't have any like.
Morals.
Any opinions or morals? Yeah,
morals.
Gone.
Nothing.
I read Macht Myrkina, and I don't have morals anymore. So,
that's cool. That's what vampire boobies will do.
I'm glad that you're also fixated on that part because I was. I was like,
why would I not be? Yes.
I know. Anyway.